You are watching Facts Me TV. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.
Today on Facts Me TV, Stephen has returned, healed from the evil that had overtaken him yesterday. And that is all thanks to you guys, you factivists, and your prayers. I feel great today. And today we are covering the 3 dumbest things Baron Coleman has said over the past week, because that's about the only amount of time I'm going to give that cat. We're also going to go down one by one every lie Candace has told in the past few days. The FBI is now trolling Candace Owens, which is just fantastic. We got a prayer request for one of our factivists, and we are going to take a moment today to do that, plus a few surprises along the way. So let's get this shenanigan and then. All right, my friends, you are tuned in to another episode of Facts Me TV live here on YouTube and generally at some point or another streaming on Facebook. Welcome back, my friends. I greatly appreciate your thoughts and prayers yesterday. I felt terrible. I got up feeling bad. There's kind of been this thing floating around my family with my grandkids and stuff. I don't know if that was it, but man, getting through a 12-hour day yesterday at work was rough. I am not afraid to admit that. But today I am back, cherry Diet Coke in hand, and you know that can only mean one thing. That this is going to be a great show, right? You guys are all here. We're having a great time. Diet Coke, cherry Diet Coke, still hasn't reached out to me about a sponsorship, but hey, we'll get there, guys, right? Because this, my friends, is the taste of a new generation. Which ironically is the same as the old generation, but semantics. We don't need to nitpick. So let's get this party started, my friends. Again, it was nice to sit there and watch you guys actually enjoy me talking about God yesterday. It was a replay. I kind of double upped 2 episodes. One was talking about the existence of God, and the other was exposing Candace Owens and her advertising numbers, her foreign employees, all things she claims isn't true. Well, if you guys sat through that yesterday, you now know that it is. But I want to get a jump today. We're going to kick things off with Baron Coleman, the master attorney, the master investigator. You know, when really, Baron should just go change his name. He really should. Change Coleman to Owens and just be done with it. Baron Owens. Because that is all this man is. He is nothing more than Candace Owens' butt puppet. Literally. You could put money on it. You could count on it. Watch Candace. Whatever she says today, Baron Coleman is running with tomorrow. If Candace is back on the exploding mic, so is Baron Coleman. If Candace Owens all of a sudden returns from overseas and starts talking about Russia, so does Baron Coleman. And that brings me to the first thing we are going to point out with Baron Coleman. I just don't understand, because most of these things, guys, are such simple searches. I mean, so to me, he knows he's lying to his audience. And as I've said with Candace Owens, I can't even have sympathy for that audience anymore. You guys, the Factivists, as well as other commentators and podcasters, we have done everything in our power to try to help their followings to see the truth, and all they want to do is attack us. So if that correction isn't welcome anymore, you morons are just going to have to find it on your own or continue to be the laughingstock of the internet. But let's get kicking here with Baron Coleman. I've got my notes pulled up, and I have picked out the 3 weakest things, aka the dumbest things, that Baron Coleman has said this past week. And this first one is a doozy. Baron Coleman, Russia is supposedly the world's last white Christian country without global banking. Have a listen.
But it's always been kind of I almost said an ugly phrase. It's always been kind of the erotic dream of much of the globalists to go to war with Russia. It's the last majority white, majority Christian country on earth that's kind of conservative and doesn't have a global banking structure.
So Coleman described Russia as the last majority white, majority Christian country on earth that doesn't have a global banking structure. This is about as factually mangled as something can be. Pew reports that most countries, Baron, still have Christian majorities. I mean, this is kind of like common knowledge. With Christians comprising roughly 67% of Europe overall. Baron. Russia is therefore nowhere close to being the planet's final Christian majority country. Baron, you are an idiot. You are only saying that about Russia to cushion and support what Candace Owens is saying, you butt puppet. Russia also has a central bank, commercial banks, financial markets, foreign exchange operations, and domestic and international payment systems. The Bank of Russia even states that it participates in the Financial Stability Board concerning global financial systems. So here is your Fax Me correction on Baron's number one most idiotic thing that he has said this past week. Russia is a Christian majority nation with an extensive, internationally connected, although heavenly sanctioned, banking and financial structure. White country, as Baron so eloquently put it, is not a meaningful banking classification. So moving on to the next thing, and they just get dumber as we go on, because nothing says stalking better than physically driving to Turning Point USA's headquarters to only concoct the dumbest money laundering conspiracy you're ever going to hear. He is treating an office park name, the name of the office park, as evidence of a foreign money operation. Because as we all know, if you're trying to launder money, you want to name a street or an office park, especially where your office is at, the name of the company that you're illegally laundering money through. I hope you guys are picking up the sarcasm because I'm laying it on pretty thick.
Like, why Clock Tower LLC? I was driving around and reviewing the terrain. I noticed I turned into Clock Tower Park as I was going into the TPUSA headquarters right there. I thought that's a weird coincidence. I mean, Clock Tower X, Clock Tower LLC, Clock Tower Corporate Park, maybe not related at all. We know Clock Tower LLC, I think, is Brad Parskill's LLC. He's the guy who was in charge of the Trump campaign when $170 million kind of got laundered through different organizations. But that's a different guy. It's a different time. May have nothing to do with it, but it was a weird coincidence. Something I would not have noticed had I not been on the ground, because how else would you know?
After driving near Turning Point USA headquarters, Coleman discovered that the surrounding complex is called Clock Tower Corporate Park. Now, where he takes it to a financial conspiracy, I took it to 1.21 gigawatts and waiting for that lightning to hit the clock tower to get my DeLorean back. But, you know, potato, whatever. Okay. So he then connected that name of this office park to Clock Tower LLC and suggested it was almost comically obvious being used to route tens of millions of dollars from a foreign ally. So we're driving down the road, Factivus. We see a development. We see an office park. Oh, okay, that is AC/DC Park. Wait a minute. AC/DC Park? AC/DC's a band? They sang Back in Black? Oh, this is all making sense. Are you kidding me, Baron? This discovery actually provides a perfectly ordinary explanation for the company's name, Baron. It may simply have been named after its location. I mean, Wolf Creek Road. It's named after Wolf Creek. You know what I'm saying? A shared name proves nothing about who controls an LLC, Baron, master attorney and investigator. Where its money originated, or whether transactions occurred, or whether anything illegal even happened. So here is your fax me correction on Baron, the money laundering conspirator. A coincidence is not a money trail, Baron. To establish this insinuation, Coleman, you would need formation records, bank transfers, contracts, tax filings, witnesses, not a sign at the entrance of an office park. I mean, moving on. Then this, again, and I'm emphasizing master attorney, because you know that whatever you say or do as an attorney needs to have that thickness, that power to stand up in court and hopefully win you the case, right? Right? We talk about facts. We don't talk about feelings and insinuations. So he is now on to Blake Neff. And why is he on to Blake Neff of Turning Point USA and the Charlie Kirk Show? Because Candace is on Blake Neff of Turning Point USA and the Charlie Kirk Show. That's why. But he says, I have a feeling he's one of the people. ... I'm
going to do my opening as a profile on one Blake Sneff, because I don't know that everybody knows exactly who he is. We know he's the weird guy on the Charlie Kirk Show. Everybody's kind of familiar with that Blake Neff. Well, you know, he's the snippy guy on X that thinks he's cute. He's the guy on X that tries to own Candace all the time. I have a feeling he's one of the people with the terrible idea to try to troll the trolls using Charlie Kirk's stiff as a football, as a game.
That's some serious stuff right there. He's referring to Blake Neff, but of course, in Barron's classic fashion, provides no identified source or documentation in the passage connecting Neff to releasing the video of Charlie Kirk saying his wife would take over. Yes, Turning Point USA is trolling you mofos because you deserve it. Okay? You guys have lied for like 9 months. And now, because Blake is backing his former boss and what his former boss said, you have a feeling he's one of the people. Here's the correction. Barron the attorney. I have a feeling is not investigative evidence. You might need to go back to school, bro. It is permissible to ask whether someone was involved, but presenting personal suspicion immediately before attacking that person's character encourages your audience to accept an unsupported association. And you know, I've said it to Candace and I'll say it to you. Are you proud? Are you excited to be able to say the only people I can convince are complete morons? The dumbest people in this country, the dumbest people in the world is my audience. Is that something to be proud of? Because I'm proud of my audience. These are honest Christian people who appreciate the truth. Okay, I will boast them till the day I die. You, on the other hand, are boasting the scum of the earth because you are the scum of the earth with Queen Grifter. So my final ranking here of the 3 dumbest things that Baron Coleman has said in the past week. Dumbest factual claim, of course, was the very first one, Russia being the world's final white Christian nation outside global banking. Again, just simple searches, guys. The dumbest logical leap was the clock tower corporate park somehow validating a foreign money theory. Because when you're running a master crime syndicate, you definitely want to put things right out in the open and obvious. I mean, it's just like rookie. And of course, he demonstrated his dumbest investigative method, which was implicating Blake Neff because Coleman had a feeling. Tell me about it, Remington. He gets it too. A dog gets it, Baron. Did you hear him? It was pretty crystal clear what he said. Right? Anything else? I guess he said his piece. So, moving on from Baron Coleman, and before we jump into tearing down Candace Owens' past 2 days of lies, I want to take a moment, my factivists. I received a prayer request, and there is no anonymity behind it. So, guys, I want you to take a moment in the chat. Stop what you're doing, please. Bow your head. We're going to say a prayer today for our good friend Mackenzie Moore, who is in the chat, because she has some health issues going on, some things like that, and I want to take a moment to say something. So if I could get everybody to bow their heads for prayer, I would greatly appreciate it. Heavenly Father, today the Facts Me family comes together and lifts Mackenzie Moore before you. Lord, you know every detail of Mackenzie's life and every battle taking place inside her body. You know the headaches she has endured every day since 2007. You know the burden of tuberous sclerosis complex, the seizures, the medications, the anxiety, the fall, the injuries, and the fear that comes when symptoms begin spreading through her face and her arm. Nothing about her suffering is hidden from you, my Lord. Father, place your protection around Mackenzie right now. Keep her safe while she is alone. Calm the electrical storms causing these seizures. Protect her brain from further injury. Stop the numbness and weakness from spreading. And guide her toward the immediate medical help she needs. Give Mackenzie the clarity and courage to recognize that seeking emergency care is not weakness, fear, or lack of faith. Doctors, nurses, medication, and medical knowledge can all be instruments through which you provide healing and protection. Lord, give wisdom to every physician responsible for her care. Help them look beyond the surface, investigate every symptom, and make decisions based upon truth, evidence, and compassion. Guide them as they adjust her medications, treat her epilepsy, and manage the many complications associated with TSC. Replace panic with peace, but never allow temporary peace to silence the warning signs her body is giving her. Give Mackenzie strength for the moments when she feels exhausted from fighting a battle that others cannot see. Remind her that she is more than a diagnosis, more than a medical chart, and more than the pain she experiences. She is a human being of immeasurable worth, deeply loved, and surrounded by the people who are standing with her. Father, we do not come before you pretending to understand why some people must carry some heavy burdens. We come honestly. We ask boldly for healing, protection, relief, and answers. We ask that Mackenzie's seizures remain controlled, that her headaches ease, and that no further damage can be done. Surround her with people who would check on her, advocate for her, and make certain she does not face dangerous moments alone. Mackenzie, your Factivist family hears you. We believe you. We are praying for you, and we are standing beside you in truth, compassion, and faith. Lord, hold Mackenzie close, protect her tonight, and guide every step that comes next. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Factivists, for that moment and taking that time for our fellow Factivist, Mackenzie Moore. We're thinking about you, Mackenzie. I prayed for you last night, as a matter of fact, in my personal prayers. So I hope that helps you a little bit. I'm completely understanding of epilepsy. My daughter, Lucidity, she developed epilepsy at about 6 months old, and she's lived with that her entire life. She's an adult now. She's 26 years old. So you got this, Mackenzie. You got this. We'll get you there. Can y'all beat it? It's Remington and Juno. Juno is Remington's mother. Super big Great Pyrenees, who likes to come in here, and she pretty much is just a walking piece of furniture. And boy, does she just love to stop right in front of you.
This channel is a mix of facts, parody, satire, and personal opinion. If you ever need clarification on any of the material, please don't hesitate to ask.
All right, can you fax me? Yeah, so she was blaming me for killing this dude. At least she thinks you exist.
I'm just glad she isn't blaming us anymore.
We're tired of people comparing her to us. People are afraid to talk to me now. This meeting is the best. There's none greater. Greatest meeting of our time, probably in all of history.
I am a robot.
Just kidding! How do you think I feel? She spelled me wrong!
So who do we think did it? He did it!
Anyways, my friends, let's jump on this Candace Owens stuff because we've got, I don't know, about a dozen of them to cover. And one of the first things I want to say something she was spouting off last night. She is now back on this exploding mic theory, because why not, right? It's interesting because she's now going back to last year's early theories and dredging those back up to bring people. And it's mostly because she probably believes that they don't remember that, or they're new enough to never heard her spout that, right? So she's now back on that. And she's running her mouth again about 30-06. Okay, again, a woman who has completely self-identified as somebody who knows nothing about ballistics, knows nothing about firearms, hunting, anything like that. Ballistics, explosive devices, she knows nothing about this. But she is going to try to convince you she's an expert, right? So, just to touch base on what she said about the 30-06, she said a 30-06 would have nearly decapitated Charlie. Delete all of your friends who are telling you otherwise. That statement right there is loaded. Delete all of your friends who are telling you otherwise. In other words, Candace is telling you to get rid of the people who are contradicting her. Because no, Candace, a 30-06 would not have nearly decapitated Charlie. There are variations in bullets. We have been over this. Soft point bullet and frangible rounds will do exactly what happened to Charlie Kirk. Quit lying. Guys, I did a great video as somebody who grew up with ballistics and firearms and a father who worked at a ballistics laboratory. Guys, I did a video on the 30-06 to counter all these other videos claiming it would have taken his head off, you know. If you guys want to watch that, it is here on my channel. I don't have time to air it today. But what I do have time to air before we get into counting down everything that Candace has lied about in the past 2 days, and not all of them, just enough for the sake of time. But she is back on the exploding microphone theory. All right. But at the same time, she has identified no device, no explosive report, no detonator, no bomb maker, no handler, or evidence connecting any of this, especially to Israel. She simply narrates the imagined assassination plan as though describing a scene from a screenplay. Zero evidence of anything, just her total, complete, made-up narrative. And nothing demonstrates confidence in your evidence quite like ordering viewers to eliminate anyone who questions it. That right there should have been a huge red flag for her audience last night. Delete all of your friends who are telling you otherwise. I'm going to say it again. Nothing demonstrates confidence in your evidence, and please note, I am being sarcastic, quite like ordering viewers to eliminate anyone who questions it. Get out of here. That is so obvious. But I was on this exploding microphone theory way back in September. When I was just a podcast, I wasn't even doing the visual element. I said it then, and then that loser Stu Peters came out, doubling down on it after Candace did, right? Baron Coleman did it. Well, I saw Stu Peters' video, and I debunked everything he was saying, referring to an exploding device. And before we jump in to these lies that we're going to expose of Candace, I want to show you, instead of doing it again, show you the original video I did, the podcast, and the actual visual version that I did later, debunking this exploding mic theory. And the irony is, Stu Peters actually debunks it himself in his own theory, trying to prove it happened, which is just hilarious. And I think you guys will catch that because I even bring that up in this video. But you guys, check out this video of me debunking the exploding mic theory, a little bit from my old podcast, and of course the Stu Peters visual version. And then we'll be right back. We'll run some commercials, and then we'll jump into these Candace lies. So check this out, my friends, and we will be right back.
That Charlie Kirk was shot through the neck by some trans-loving, furry-chasing weirdo called Tyler Robinson, who behaved like Spider-Man when he scaled the side of a building.
So way back, 6 months ago, back in September, this was back before I was even doing the video thing. I was just doing an audio podcast for Fax Me, and the whole thing came out about an explosive device on Charlie Kirk. It was one of the many theories, the lapel mic, and how somebody remotely detonated it, and that's what killed him. It wasn't Tyler Robinson. It wasn't a 30-06. Blah, blah, blah. We all know it. Kind of thought that was dead and buried. But this was sent to me last night, and they are still pushing this remote detonator theory. So I'm going to touch base on it again. So let's start here. Okay, this is Stu Peters. I'd never even heard of the guy until this video was sent to me, and he is 100% sold on this remote detonator theory. And I just want you to listen, because he pulls the same tactics as Candace. So let's get this thing started.
Since the moment that Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Utah Valley University in broad daylight in front of 3,000 witnesses that were gathered in live attendance, and in front of the entire world via live stream that people saw once, saw twice, saw again, over and over, freeze frame, slow down, stop, analyze, discuss, and dissect, that as for myself and everyone else here at the Stu Peters Network, we just don't believe the official government narrative. That Charlie Kirk was shot through the neck by some trans-loving, furry-chasing weirdo called Tyler Robinson, who behaved like Spider-Man when he scaled the side of a building and achieved a tactical position atop a roof and then pulled off the perfect shot with an elevated heart rate while under stress in a crisis, and then broke down his rifle, ran into the woods, put it back together, left all of the evidence needed to frame him in a neat little stack, and then for good measure confessed to the entire crime to a trans lover that we can't find, over text messages that sound like they were written by a cop, only later to then turn himself in with the help of his dad and a minister and a U.S. Marshal to a sheriff's office where video footage does not exist after getting a bite to eat at Dairy Queen. Now, if any of that sounds like an unbelievable fairy tale to you, it's because it is. None of that is true.
Okay. You see what he did there, right? None of that is true. Yet, Peters here doesn't offer up any reason why. None of that is true. Yet it is. Tyler Robinson is standing trial for this. And you just said it. Tyler Robinson admitted he did it. It's the feds. I'll be right back. No. No, I sent you the account number. Just wire the 7,000. Now, I'm not doing Western Union. If I got to go somewhere to get the 7,000, just keep it. Just keep it. I don't want to be seen out in public. Yeah, just like the other 7,000, just direct deposit it. Hello? Anyways, back to Peter Boy here. You saw what he did. Tyler Robinson didn't do it. But he's just going to say that and not say, and here's why. Okay, he wants to say, oh, we're supposed to believe he scaled a building like Spider-Man. I saw the video. Did you, Peters? I'd hardly call that like Spider-Man. Homeboy dropped down. He looked like just like any one of us would, dropping down off of a building in panic. And you notice how he said, oh, you know, he'd be nervous and anxiety and just this, that, and the other thing, able to take that clear shot. Psychos don't suffer from those things. Psychos don't have a conscience. So he's not there nervous. He's there thinking he is completing the job he's supposed to do. because he wanted Charlie Kirk dead. Okay? This little psychological game you Peters and you Candances play doesn't work with me. But let's keep on, because you're going to talk about this remote detonary. Remote detonary? Oh my God, I got to stop listening to Candace, y'all. It is like killing my vocabulary. It really is. So anyways, he's going to keep talking about this detonator. Now, before I play Peters here, I'm sorry, man. Sorry. Let me play for you guys from my podcast over 6 months ago, the day the detonator theory came out. Here's a little excerpt from that. But this idea has been circulating heavily across social media. Video after video shows what appears to be an individual pressing a hidden button, a supposed detonator, at the exact moment Kirk was struck. Others allege they've spotted a handoff of a small device between individuals posing as bodyguards. Now, I've seen this, and it does look like the one guy hands off something to the other guy. That could be anything. I don't know. But if we're going to play that game that this was the guy who detonated something in Charlie's shirt, sure, maybe he handed it off to this guy. I just don't know. I'll admit, when you watch these clips through that interpretive lens, they can look rather persuasive, but let's not abandon rational analysis. Several things trouble me about this theory. First, the conspicuous gesture. Why would someone with a detonator draw attention to themselves by pressing it in plain view, tucked awkwardly under his shirt sleeve? A professional assassin as they're calling this guy, would conceal such a device in a pocket or sleeve where the act could go unnoticed. Doing it openly is inconsistent with covert tradecraft. Like, why didn't he just stick it in his pants pocket and push the button with his hands in his pocket? That would look normal as can be. Nobody would even think twice about it. Second, and this is the part that really gets me, is the sound of the gunshot. Firearms have unique acoustic signatures depending on the environment. The timbre of a gunshot changes depending on the environment. A shot fired indoors resonates differently than one in open air. In Spectator cell phone footage, one of the earliest clips I reviewed, in fact, I think it was the very first one I watched on Facebook moments after it happened. You can clearly hear in that very first video, the one that I saw, I mean, it was uploaded like minutes after this happened. The sound comes distinctly from the right of the audience. You can even see the spectator immediately pivot toward the direction of the sound. He literally turns around and to his right. That is consistent with a firearm, not an explosion from the microphone. If the sound would have came from Charlie Kirk, nobody would have jerked and turned and looked to the left or right. They'd have been looking at Charlie. But in the video, you can clearly hear a gunshot come from the right and behind the guy who was filming with his cell phone. And he was facing Charlie. So there was a gun that was fired. No question in my mind. Now, whether or not it was fired at Charlie, or whether or not it was a distraction, that is a completely different thing. But then there's the physical evidence. If Charlie's microphone had been weaponized to project a bullet or explosive force, his shirt would bear visible residue. Visible residue, guys, tearing or burn damage at the least. Instead, his bright white t-shirt appears undamaged, save for the outward puff, consistent with the high velocity projectile, a bullet impact. If you slow that video down, the versions of the video where you can see up close to Charlie, slow it down, you can see an outward puff of his t-shirt. And that is consistent with a high velocity projectile. That's what happens when something is going at that speed. That kind of ballistic evidence. Okay, so I'm going to touch on a few of these things that I said back in September. And Peter's here actually debunks his own theory in front of all of us by showing evidence of what remote devices do. Okay? And that's kind of been the point I have made the whole time. So let's show the rest of this that Peters is talking about, and then I'll point out exactly why he's debunked his own theory.
Now, of course, when you make those types of claims and assertions, people have questions. When you say Charlie Kirk wasn't shot in the neck with a 30-06 held by Tyler Robinson, people will say, okay, well then how did he die? And many people have given a whole lot of different answers to that question, but only one of them, of course, can be accurate. And here from this studio in a late at night impromptu episode, I believe that I honed in on that very early, and that is that Charlie Kirk was killed by an exploding microphone, much like members of Hezbollah were killed by exploding pagers created by the Israelis. There was a remote detonation, and then Charlie Kirk was dead.
Okay. Let's watch this again, because Peter Boy here actually disproved his own theory. He's talking about these exploding pagers. Okay? Let's watch all this again. This is an exploding device remotely detonated.
Members of Hezbollah were killed by exploding pagers created by the Israelis. There was a remote detonation, and then Charlie Kirk was dead.
Okay, so you saw the explosion. You saw debris fly everywhere. In both of those cases he was showing. That right there disproves this lapel mic exploding. There wasn't an explosion. His shirt was as crystal clean white as could be, minus the wound from the 30-06. If there had been an explosion on or underneath his shirt, there would have been damage to that shirt. Instead, the shirt was fine. This is the most ridiculous theory I have ever seen. They want this to be something else so bad that they're willing to just overlook the simplest reason. Now, only for the sake of totally disproving this exploding device. Okay, this is the exact moment Charlie Kirk was shot. Okay, nothing graphic, no blood, no nothing. Okay, guys, I'm keeping this as clean as possible. Just that split second. And you literally, and I'm going to pause it right then and there. Okay, again, nothing graphic. It is absolutely disturbing. It's disheartening. Trust me, I don't like watching this stuff as much as you guys don't, but we're fighting the good fight here. Okay. But I pause this so you can see for that split moment the entry wound. There was no explosion, okay? This is the entry wound. Again, nothing graphic. If you want to close your eyes until you hear my voice again, that's fine. I don't blame you. But here it is.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
What do you guys think? Put your comments in the comments. I'm telling you, man, I'm so ready to move on from this Candace stuff. But I can't. I want to see Tyler Robinson guilty, and then I want to watch and revel in all of the lawsuits that are going to come at Candace Owens. That's it. Guys, have a great day. Hey, my friends, this is Steven from Fax Me. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stop!
Bok bok.
right, my friends, you just checked out that debunking video I had done in the past twice. Once in September when it first came out as a theory, and then once when Stu Peters doubled down on it after Candace did. And I think you came out of that the same way I did. It was not an exploding microphone. I posted the proof. That was not an exploding microphone. And feel free, Factivists, to go back, stop it at that moment, take that screenshot. To anybody who's trying to tell you he wasn't shot, that is frame by frame, stopped, perfect, the moment of impact. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny that. That screenshot alone, that still shot of Charlie at the point of impact, debunks the electrified microphone theory, debunks the exploding mic theory, debunks every other theory besides what actually happened, which is he was shot with a .30-06. Period. All right, my friends, let's jump into tearing down this wonderful Candace Owens stuff because she makes it so daggone easy. Again, you know, I feel like I don't know, this is just so easy. Simple. If her fans would sit there and pause it every time she says something and just go look it up, they could come back and say, wait a minute, you just said moments ago this. I just went and looked it up. Why aren't they doing that? I can't. She has now fully blocked me everywhere. She started with blocking me on X. She has now blocked me on YouTube. And as of yesterday, she has now blocked me on Facebook. Started with X, then she migrated to YouTube, and finally yesterday blocked me on Facebook. And I know why she blocked me on Facebook, because everybody, man, from the Factivist side, when she would post something on Facebook, they would go and post my material in her comments. They would tag Fax Me, the Fax Me page, the Fax Me in her. This is every post of hers. So in her mind, if she blocks me, they can't do that anymore. We'll see. We'll just see about that, Candace. But let's jump on these and go down them one at a time. And I've even got a few videos of Charlie Kirk that we are going to be weaving in and out to help prove these points. But let's bring this up. And again, she can't even get 3 minutes into her show without lying. This has been a pattern. Like literally the openings of her show, there is always a lie right out the gate that sets the stage for the entire episode. And this episode was no different. The first thing she tries to do is a false characterization of Charlie Kirk's words. Okay. She said Charlie Kirk's in a video and that he formally rejected the Butler assassination attempt narrative and did not buy it for 1 second.
And that's actually pretty ironic because Charlie was a friend to President Trump. They let us know every minute of every day. And do you know what he thought? Do you want to know something that he formally rejected? The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt narrative, if you will. He did not buy it for 1 second.
Here is the clip that she's referring to of Charlie talking about the Butler assassination. Check this out, and we'll be right back to address it.
The more we learn about Trump getting shot in the assassination attempt, the less it makes sense. This is one of the largest scandals in American history. Probably even the same as JFK. By the way, if it wasn't for divine providence, Donald Trump would be dead right now. 2 bullets went right by him, one of which hit him, and he got shot. We now know that the shooter was identified by Secret Service 3 hours beforehand. That there was a roof, unattended, 120 yards away from Trump. In broad daylight, the shooter brought out a ladder from his car that he bought at Home Depot, climbed the ladder with a rifle, set himself up. People saw him, Trump supporters. Police did nothing. Secret Service did nothing. He was able to set up a shot unobstructed of the president. How was this possible exactly? Was this malevolence? Was this just incompetence? This involved potentially dozens of people that were in law enforcement. Oh, and even one more. Local law enforcement climbed up the ladder and the guy pointed a gun at him and he just walked away. Why wasn't there a call to take Trump off stage? Oh, we have a commotion. Take Trump off stage. Why didn't the counter sniper team go off scope and not do their job? Why was there no drone reconnaissance or helicopter support? I'm just the layman. I'm not a military guy. I'm not in personal protection, but I'm also not a moron. Was this a setup? What's going on here? And the lack of concern from the media is so telling, because there are many members of the media that want Donald J. Trump dead, and they don't want to get to the bottom of this. We were 2 inches away from one of the darkest chapters in American history. No one has been fired, no one has resigned, and no one will probably be held accountable. But this is one of the strangest, most suspicious stories in American history. Put in the comments what you think actually happened, because it doesn't make any sense.
So you guys just heard Charlie in his own words. In his own words. Okay? But the interesting thing, and this reminds me, I don't think Candace has the ability to comprehend reality. I think she's so delusional that she literally sees and hears what she wants to see and hear. We talked about that when she posted the video of Andrew Colvett and Blake talking about trolling with the video of Charlie announcing Erica would take over. You guys remember this? In her mind, she watched that video and thought they admitted to faking it. Nothing even remotely close was said like that. We covered this on the show last week. You guys saw it. Same thing. She's going with this Charlie Kirk video, but that clip shows Kirk doing the opposite, doing the exact opposite of what she's saying. She is saying he formally rejected the Butler assassination attempt and did not buy it for 1 second. But the clip shows Kirk doing the opposite. He calls it an assassination attempt. He says Trump got shot. He says Trump would have died without divine providence. Kirk questioned the catastrophic security failures that we are all well aware of. He did not reject that the assassination attempt occurred. Owens changed Kirk questioned how it happened into Kirk did not believe it happened. That is a flat out lie, literally contradicted by Charlie himself. Despicable. Then she moves on and she's talking about the death from the pager attacks, the exploding pagers. So now she's back onto this exploding pager thing. Why? To somehow tie Israel to it and to somehow add validity to an exploding microphone theory. But she messes all this up too. Okay? Owens claims the September 17 and September 18 attacks wounded more than 3,000 people and killed 12.
We can then reasonably assert that 6 grams of PETN is not enough to confidently kill someone, right? They only killed 12 out of 3,000 people.
12 was approximately the reported death toll from the first day pager attack. The first day, not the combined 2 days that she's describing. It was reported that the pager attack and the following day's weaponized radio explosions killed 39 people, not 12, and wounded more than 3,400 people, not 3,000. So, she is conflating the first day toll with both days. Go figure. She can't even get the numbers right. She can't even read right. I just read right. I mean, that's all you got to do, Candace. That's it. But then she says the dumbest thing. Okay, she's still on these exploding pagers. Check this out.
The trajectory of their injuries, right? So these people, they heard the pager go off. whether it was their dad's pager or their uncle's pager. They went to go grab the pager. They held it in their hands, and to get it to go off, you had to hit the OK button.
She says to get it to go off, you had to hit the OK button. So your pager goes off, you hit OK, and boom, is what Candace is trying to say. However, that's not true at all. There's not an inkling of that is true. A former Mossad operative specifically told 60 Minutes that although the message encouraged users to press 2 buttons, not the OK button, 2 buttons, the pager would explode anyway, whether they did it or they didn't. Okay, it was a signal, Candace, that was sent out to these pagers to detonate them. Sure, you could push the 2 buttons, not 1 OK button, but 2 buttons, and it would do it right then and there. But it was going to explode regardless. There was a coded message that was sent to all 3,000 pagers that activated all 3,000 pagers. A coded message detonated those pagers, not pressing an OK button. So this is a complete and total lie. And it's just completely irrelevant. Like, why even make this up? It seems so stupid to me. Then she tries to start talking smart about PETN. About 6 grams specifically. Okay? Check this out.
We can then reasonably assert that 6 grams of PETN is not enough to confidently kill someone.
Her conclusion is built on the incorrect combined casualty figure, because we know Candace can't math, right? More importantly, the lethal amount cannot be calculated merely by dividing fatalities by the number of wounded. This is like the dumbest formula I've ever heard. It depends on placement, confinement, distance, body position, surrounding material, and of course, medical treatment. The devices were designed primarily to maim the wearers, the person that actually had it, limiting the blast around them. Each pager was designed to take out one person. The end. So this is pretty amateur, Candace. I mean, this is really amateur. This is unsupported, amateurish presentation, but you present it as a confident scientific conclusion, and this is the furthest thing from science, Candace. But she still stays on that with the 20 grams of PETN mimics the punch of a 30-06.
It's about the same as a gunshot from a 30-06. If you shot it against that bulletproof, you heard him correctly. I promise you. That was the first one I hit. He decided, and same results as a 30-06. 20 grams of PETN mimics the punch of a 30-06 bullet. Unbelievable.
She flat out says it. 20 grams of PETN mimics the punch of a 30-06.
Unbelievable.
Think she's right, Factivus? She uses a testing video from YouTube to determine this, by the way. But the testing video, which she leaves out, only compared the approximate diameter of damage in one piece of ballistic glass. That does not establish that an explosive charge has the same energy transfer.
Unbelievable.
Nor does it have the same trajectory or penetration or wound characteristics as a 30-06 projectile. There is nothing in her demonstration or in anything she said that shares the same transfer energy, trajectory, penetration, or wound characteristics of a 30-06. Owens converted a similar sized mark in this particular glass test into the same punch as a bullet. This is a false equivalence, completely false equivalence. and very, very materially misleading. But now all of her audience is going to be on that. See, it wasn't a 30-06. Candace showed us 20 grams of PETN does the same thing.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Moving on. Now, this one's great. This one's great because the FBI trolled her back, and I freaking love it. Okay. You know, she sent out a letter requesting, because why not? It's Candace Owens. Everybody should answer to Candace Owens. That she wanted to know Kash Patel's 3-day travel itinerary during that time period of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Her claim is the FBI is supposed to get back to her within 20 days. And invoking unusual circumstances is essentially just a delaying tactic.
Yes. I think it's always 3, which will delay our ability to make a determination on your request within 20 days. So it's just an ability to delay. They could say, oh, well, it's one of these 3 things. We have to talk to somebody, right? So we're not going to be able to tell you back within 20 days. That's supposed to be a lot of time. It's supposed to get back to us within 20 days. Well, it involves somebody else. So we now have to talk to somebody.
This is what Candace is convincing her audience of. However, here is the actual correction. Candace. FOIA generally requires an agency to make a determination within 20 working days. Not get back to you. Make a determination within 20 days. Not necessarily locate, review, redact, or deliver the requested stuff. Okay? Federal law expressly permits extensions for records stored in separate offices, large amounts of records, or necessary consultations with other agencies or components. The exact categories in the response she read. So separate offices, massive records, consultations, agencies, components, the exact categories in the response she read. So her lie is she is misleading everybody with a false legal explanation. And as you guys can see on the screen, the FBI trolled her right back. And you can see what they said. This is fantastic. I just love it now. I just absolutely love it now that nobody is taking her crap. They're just calling her out now. Because before, nobody was messing with it, right? But as you can see, FBI Rapid Response says, Dear Real Candace, please show us the document sent to you acknowledging your FOIA request where we said the burden of the request is too great. Your show, just like the fake news media, will be called out when you lie. We hope this helps. And then they post it. So she's making up stuff to her audience, claiming it said this or whatever. And the FBI called her right out on X. Show us the document sent to you acknowledging where we said the burden of request is too great. Your show is just like the fake news and being called out when you lie. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, moving on from that, she is back to using those words. Well, she's not back to, she's just doubling down on it, using those words like we all, everybody knows, right? The majority. And this is what she's doing with Israel. She invented majority supporting an Israel assassination theory. Her exact words, the majority of the world, the majority of rational people, the majority of us believe Charlie Kirk was killed because he was turning against Israel.
With Tucker, she goes with him to the Hamptons and sits across from Bill Ackman at dinner when Bibi Netanyahu is called. She's playing both sides and pushing her husband to be anti-Israel, the thing that the majority of rational people believe killed him. Okay? The majority of us believed that him turning against Israel killed him.
The majority of the world, the majority of rational people, and the majority of us. So that right there, she doesn't even consider hers as rational people, or she would have been included in the majority of rational people, but she made a point to say the majority of us. But the morons? The majority of the morons? That's all you had to do is replace one word. The majority of morons. Believe Charlie Kirk was killed because he was turning against Israel. Well, I've got something to say to that. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to let Charlie say it. Check this out.
Do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Okay, that's good for war. Do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Okay, that's good for war. Do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Okay, that's good for war. Do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Okay, that's good for war.
So, as always, Candace and her majority, she provides no survey, no polling, study, or other evidence establishing any such majority. The presently filed criminal case is Tyler Robinson. Surveillance evidence, a .30-06 rifle, DNA consistent with Robinson, on the weapon and the ammunition, a note, text admissions, and so much more. Robinson remains the main guy. Period. He is the main guy. Candace, you cannot erase that evidence by declaring an online theory about a majority position that none of us hold. It's just you and your morons. That's it. That's it. Us real conservatives do not think like that. We are not in your majority. In fact, you guys would be the minority. That whole thing should read differently. The minority of the world, the minority of the rational people, and the minority of us / morons. That's how it should have read. Because you guys are the minority, not the majority. As we've seen in my graph that is slowly taking you down to hopefully hell, because that is where you belong. I think you'll fit in nicely there. It's wonderful this time of year. All right, moving on. This one, dude, she is so going to get sued. She is so going to get sued. Unsupported assassination order narrative. This, I dropped my jaw. I dropped my jaw like, okay, she's going even further now. But her claim is this. After imagining Erica encouraging Charlie to oppose Israel, Owens says, they said, no, we can't control him. We have to take Charlie Kirk out. And then says, what I am saying is the truth.
To a pro-Israel summit at Bill Ackman's house. None of this is clocking. That's what bothers me. And if she intentionally pushed him to be more anti-Israel and, yeah, no, babe, you got this. No, push back harder on that donor. No, you tell this guy this. Then what? They said, no, we can't control him. We can't bring him back. We have to take Charlie Kirk out.
That statement right there is it, man. They said, no, we can't control him, in reference to Charlie. We have to take Charlie Kirk out. She is saying that's what Erica said. And then ends that with, what I am saying is the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, that perfect line is defamation. Defamation. Here's the correction. There is not a piece of evidence, nothing, not even a breeze of it, offered that anyone ever made that statement or issued such an order. Even according to Owens herself, the only statement attributed to Tucker Carlson was that Erica was supposedly more anti-Israel than Charlie. And that came from Tucker. Right? So how much credit does that have? The alleged decision to take Charlie out is Owens. It's all her. It's all her own invention. Nobody said that. But she is saying what I am saying is the truth. Folks, TPUSA, you guys out there, again, feel free to use my stuff. Please do. That's why I'm doing all this. Something she attributes to Carlson saying, okay, or another witness. So, I mean, this is conjecture, Candace. This is conjecture, and you are establishing it as truth. There's nothing. There is nothing anywhere that says Erica said, no, we can't control him. We have to take Charlie out. And you are saying that is truth. You are toast. You are so toast. Once Tyler is convicted, you're done. Then she goes on and she says she lied about her husband's. She lied to her husband. She lied to Charlie about her viewpoints.
With Charlie and Erica was more anti-Israel than Charlie. So what the hell changed, Erica? Why couldn't you find it within you to tell the truth about Charlie's shifting viewpoints?
So her claim is Erica Kirk secretly deceived Charlie about her opinions concerning Israel. But Owens presents no communication from Erica to Charlie. No video, no audio recording, no letter, no nothing, no text, no statement from Charlie describing deception, no firsthand evidence of what Erica privately told Charlie. Even accepting Owens' secondhand account about a dinner conversation would not establish that Erica lied to Charlie. You've got nothing. You're just making it up. This is a personal accusation that you are presenting as fact, like everything else that you do. Then she gets on to the Mark Liddy explosives and ATF allegations. If you guys remember this, Mark Liddy confessed to Corey that he had stolen explosives from work, was being investigated from the ATF. Okay. But Owens labels portions allegedly and attributes the story through multiple unnamed and indirectly described people.
High school friend just a week before he died, that he had illegally taken some explosives from his job. The ATF was apparently investigating him for this. At least that's what was told to what Courtney Fief, who was a former ATF agent, confided to somebody, that he had this confession a week before he died.
Public reporting confirms that Liddy was killed when something exploded in a burn barrel, and that he worked as a supervisor for Surefire Wireline. There is no credible public documentation corroborating an ATF investigation, explosive theft, or confession. There's nothing other than Candace Owens saying that. This is unverified hearsay to construct an explosive assassination storyline. That's it. Just to create a false narrative. And lastly, guys, because her big thing right now is going back to all these old theories and drudging them back up because she's out of material, but she's still on this Secret Service agents never lost their jobs.
They are not happy with the fact that Secret Service agents never lost their jobs.
We talked about this in the live last week, my friends, right? President Trump wasn't their boss. He cannot fire them. He was running for president. He was not their boss. He cannot fire them. Even after he became president, he couldn't legally fire them for something they did when he wasn't their boss. Okay? But she's leaving a lot of stuff out. Her surrounding implication is that nobody faced consequences, and that's inaccurate. That's a lie. 6 personnel received 10 to 42 day suspensions without pay and were moved to restricted or non-operational positions. And even Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle also resigned 10 days after the shooting. So they were reprimanded. They faced consequences. It wasn't by Trump because Trump wasn't the man to do it. He wasn't president. One of them even quit. So, and those of you cultists out there that are arguing and saying that, yeah, but all former presidents have Secret Service. That's true. But that still doesn't make Trump their boss. The Secret Service that was assigned to him does not work for him. They're provided. So even trying to use the excuse that former presidents have Secret Service, which duh, we all know that, but that doesn't make them the boss of them. Period. So what do you guys think, my friends? You know, looking at all this, I would say the four clearest factual failures that we went over today was her trying to say, again, putting words into Charlie Kirk's mouth. Charlie Kirk did not reject that Butler was an assassination attempt. The pagers did not require somebody to press OK before exploding. 12 deaths was not the combined total for both days of device explosions. A hole similar in diameter in ballistic glass does not prove that it mimics the punch of a 30-06 bullet. So those are the four biggest ones, even though we covered a lot, Factivists. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of today's show? Again, I want to thank you guys for all of the prayers and well wishes yesterday. Like I said, I don't know what hit me, but I recovered quickly. The power of prayer, the power of God. I'm back. I got a little bit of, scratching. It's still a little bit kind of hanging in there, but man, I feel great today. I feel great today. I do. So we're at the middle of the week. It's hump day. You guys translate that however you wish. Okay. I know how I translate hump day. Get your mind out of the gutter, Factivists. What is wrong? What is wrong with you guys? Why you got to take it there? Don't take it there. I mean, I was clearly translating hump day into, working, man. Working, getting things done. Man, you people. I love you guys. Thank you to my mods once again. We've got 4 of these jokers now running the show in that chat, and they do such a fantastic job. Jim, thank you yesterday for taking my message about me taking a sick day. I did make an attempt to record the show yesterday and do a pre-recorded live. I just couldn't get through it, man. I could barely talk. I mean, I was like that, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I gotta let Jim know. I gotta let Jim know that, hey, I'm gonna do a dual episode replay so you guys have something. Keep that algorithm going. Because that's the thing, you miss a day or two of videos and they shut you down, man. They bring you back down. Everything you worked for, the algorithm changes. So it's like, I got to put something up there. And Jim did great informing you guys of what was going on. The other mods, of course, always great. You guys are awesome. So let's give them a hand, my friends, my Factivists. I want you all to have a great remainder of the day. I'm going to jump off here, spend some time with my wife and my dogs. Then once Candace's show is over, I'm going to start my review process of that. Because as you guys know, I do actual files, actual case files on everything. And, the main reason for that is so I have hard copies in case anything digital is lost. And if this stuff does get subpoenaed, not only do I have all of the video versions on a flash drive, I also have hard copies that lay everything out, so it can all be sent with the greatest of ease to anybody requesting that information for legal purposes against Candace Owens. I'm all for it, guys. You just let me know what I can do, and I will do it with bells on. Let me tell you. Yeah, there'll probably be some 80s metal, playing in the background. And I do have one request. If you guys subpoena me and I have to come onto the stand, okay, I want intro music. It can be like as soon as I come through that courtroom. It could be playing Dr. Feelgood from Motley Crue. Or maybe some Skid Row, Monkey Business. Throw that down. I don't know. We'll work on it. Maybe a nice 30-second intro walking in the courtroom so I can look over at Candace and do the slow motion walk point. Work with me, guys. I don't ask for a lot. I really don't. But I can see this, especially with it being, let's get cameras in the courtroom. Fax Me comes busting through that door to a theme song in super cool guy slow motion. Unstoppable. Guys, I want you to have a great remainder of the day. You guys know where the truth goes. It goes right here on your tongue. And you guys know where God is hanging out for good. And that is right here in our hearts, my friends. Keep those prayer requests coming. Keep those messages, ideas, suggestions coming. Even though I don't physically respond to everything that you guys message me, I do read it. I do make sure that I see it all. So don't feel like you're being ignored. You're not being ignored. You're not. Okay. It feels so good to feel good again. Right? Guys, take care, and we'll be talking at you soon.
Just no. Millions of people watching my show. Maybe I'm faking gay, defending Weinstein and Andrew Tate. Mental health's not healing. Erica's I'm going off the rails of Egyptian plains. I'm going off the rails of Egyptian plains. I'm a hoe. Psychos, I've listened to fools. I've watched all the footage. I sound like a tool.